The 12-strong fleet of high-performance one-design owner-driver RC44s is set to compete for its 2025 World Championship title in the heart of Dutch sailing, Scheveningen, The Hague. This year's RC44 World Championship is hosted by Nico Poons of Charisma, the 44 Cup's 2022 and 2023 champion, and it's taking place out of the Yacht Club Scheveningen.
Having the World Championship here, it's a known place for sailing, yachting, regattas in Holland, and I think the circumstances and conditions, the prospects are fine for that.
The start of racing was first delayed by an hour waiting for the wind to fill in. And while the sailors were waiting, a massive rain cloud descended on the fleet, providing everyone with a thorough soaking. Then, in its aftermath, came wind, sun, and the first race. Tensions have been mounting all week in the build-up to this highlight of the 44 Cup calendar. Disaster at the first top mark rounding when Charisma and Peninsula Racing collided in a port starboard incident. The impact was substantial, Charisma's bow penetrating Peninsula Racing's port side 1 meter after the shrouds. This led to Peninsula's mast to topple over, narrowly missing Charisma's deck, her crew leaping out of the way to avoid the spar as it crashed down from above. While Charisma's sacrificial bow was destroyed, she was otherwise undamaged and sailed the next 2 races. But for Peninsula Racing, the damage was too severe for her to continue. A sorry end to the World Championship for John Bassadoni and his Gibraltar team. Back at the front of the action, and RC44 class president Chris Bake's Team Aqua had managed to sneak in front after a poor start. Aqua nosed in front of the top mark and led from there on. In race 2, it was the turn of Marcus Tornquist's Gemera Racing to tackle the first upwind the best, helped by a significant left-hand shift that pointed the port tackers at the top mark from around a third of the way up the first beat. For the final race of the day, the wind had dropped to around 10 knots, and it was the turn of the defending world champion, Vladimir Prosikin's Team Nika, to come out on top. Team Nika arrived home a substantial 1 minute 15 seconds ahead of the next wave of finishers. Overall, at the end of the opening day, the top 5 teams are separated by just 3 points, with Team Siref Veda leading, a point ahead of Huglepix Aleph Racing. Day 2 began with perfect summer sun and solid breeze. However, the breeze was largely from east of due south and blowing diagonally off the Dutch coast, making it extremely fickle and shifty. Despite those unpredictable conditions, Day 2 produced a double win for the Swedes. In the first race, Marcus Tornquist's Gemera scored their second bullet of this World Championship, having started midline and being one of the last to tack back onto port. Going into the top mark, Charisma muscled her way in on port to round in second place, just ahead of Huglepix Aleph Racing. The hosts of this event went on to claim the first of 2 second places today, making Nico Poons' team the top scoring boat of the day. With a 6th in the second race, Gemera ended the day in the lead, but by a mere point. In race 2, Daniel Calero's Lanzarote Calero Sailing did a fine job to force her way to the front on the first beat, rounding the top mark inside Vladimir Prosikin's Team Nika. However, as the Canary Islands team hoisted their spinnaker in the blustery conditions, they broached, pitching a crew member into the water. To avoid running into them, Team Nika had to stay above them and delay hoisting their kite, while those coming in from astern were able to sail below them. Artemis Racing took the lead ahead of Charisma, positions they held until the finish.
Our first race wasn't so good. I pooched the start, and then but the guys did a great job in fighting back and caught up a few boats, which was nice. And then we managed to just get away a little bit with a lucky few shifts and managed to win the last one, or the second one. So yeah, we're happy with that. We're not used to sailing in so much current, but it's testing and trying to understand it and try and benefit from it as much as you can, and then then yeah, and it's a shifty course, so there's always chances.
It was a good day. Definitely the first race was a really good one for us. We lead pretty much from the beginning and we could hold on the lead. It was a nice, fun race with plenty of breeze. The second one was fun as well, but I made a few mistakes here and there on the upwind, especially on that second upwind. And we ended up sixth. It's very tight racing, so we are very happy that we are not doing huge mistakes. And yeah, it's still we are all very close within a couple of points. So I think we just have to look at not so much at the results, but the fact that we are sailing well. That's the most important thing.
Positions on the leaderboard at the 44 Cup World Championship in Scheveningen are ebbing and flowing, much like the strong tide on this stretch of the North Sea. In the first race, Artemis Racing won the pin, surged ahead out to the left, and when she tacked on to port, successfully crossed the fleet. She led from there, with Gamera second, evening the score with her, and with Vladimir Prosikin's Team Nika in third. In the day's second race, Chris Bake's Team Aqua started at the boat end, immediately tacking off. Initially, this tactic seemed to be paying, but once the port tack outsiders flipped back onto starboard, they were crossed by those that had gone right later out of the start. Leading this group were Vladimir Prosikin's Team Nika and Igor Lars' Team Siref Vader, who just managed to get the inside berth going into the top mark, while having pulled out a small lead over Nico Poons' third place Team Charisma. Despite some close calls on the next upwind, Team Siref Vader clung on to win comfortably from Aleph Racing and Christian Zura's Black Star Sailing team. Team Nika bounced back for the third race. This was held in magnificent conditions, the sun finally out and the wind peaking at 20 knots. Again, the right looked good early on, but eventually when Team Nika returned from the left, her nose was in front and she rounded the top mark ahead of Black Star Sailing Team and Charisma, extending on the next three legs. At the end of the day, Team Siref Vader was top scoring boat of the session, with results of 5, 1 and 5. Nonetheless, this was enough to propel the Slovenian team to the top of the leaderboard, leading Gamera by just a point and with Team Nika just another point behind in third.
Super close, everyone's having their moments. Like I said, we're really kicking ourselves for that second one today because we were in second comfortably and ended up ninth. So losing 7 points in this fleet is very costly. But everyone's had their, people are over, people had incidents, so everyone's having it. So, it's going to be close. It's all on tomorrow, basically.
It's nice feeling, but one more day. So, of course, everything is still open. Plenty of points on the table. So, yeah, we will try to do our best.
After 3 days of moderate, brisk, and occasionally violent conditions off the Hague, the wind and waves on the North Sea abated on day 4 for the final 3 races of the 44 Cup World Championship. In the first race, held in 12 to 14 knots from the southwest, Team Nika started by the pin, got her bow forwards, and then led the group coming back from the left. A left-hand shift temporarily helped those on the right, but eventually it was Team Nika and Nico Poons' Charisma that rounded first to lead down the run, holding on from there on. After a second row start, Team Siref Vader recovered strongly to third place. This moved Team Nika ahead of her by 1 point. In the second race, Christian Zura's Black Star Sailing team started from the committee boat end of the line and went left, then led Huglepik's Aleph Racing around the top mark. Team Nika rounded the windward mark in third, and an early jibe pulled her up to second, which she held to the end behind Black Star, who notched up her first bullet at this World Championship. In the final race, there was no pre-start engagement between the front runners, with Team Siref Vader now having to keep an eye on a charging Aleph Racing. Remarkably, any of the top 5 could still theoretically win the championship. However, the field was significantly cleared when Black Star Sailing Team, WOW Sailing Team and Lanzarote Calero Sailing were all scored OCS at the start. Meanwhile, Aleph Racing started close to the boat end and then, hanging on starboard, was clear ahead by the time she reached the top mark, ahead of Nika with Team Aqua 3rd and Team Sireth Veda 4th. Team Sireth Veda overtook Team Nika at the top of the second beat and held this down the run to finish 3rd. However, this was not enough to overcome Team Nika, who not only successfully defended her World Championship title, but secured victory for a record 5th time in the history of this class.
Very tough races. We were approaching 3rd for the last day, and somehow we found some energy and determination to do it right, to have very good last day. 1st, 2nd, 4th, I believe it's a very good result. And the team was very inspired, very good work for the guys.
So it was a real grind this week. We made it hard for ourselves, but it was just a tough week, tough conditions, tough venue. So I think everyone would have felt the same, you know. But yeah, we managed to pull it together today, and we put it over the line in the last one. So it was good. Yeah.
Pretty pleased with being runner-up again. Well, last year probably we were a lot closer. This year, I would say, yeah, it's a fair result where we've come. So we're pleased. We've had a few tough regattas this year with a 9th and a 6th, but yeah, to come back here at the Worlds and perform and getting a runner-up spot, yeah, Team Sireth's very happy.
I think we sailed a very good event. We had one day on Friday that was a bit tough on us. We made a couple of costly mistakes that put a few points on the scoreboard, but I think the rest of the event, the whole team sailed very well. We had a great last day. That is a good way to finish the event. And it's the first podium of the World Championship for Team Aleph, so we're super happy, and it's good to finish on a strong note.
The 2025 44 Cup concludes in Calero Marinas, Marina Jandia and Fuerteventura from 19th to 23rd of November.